Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my Kellerman vlogs. If you've been following this series of videos, I reread the mystery novels written by author Jonathan Kellerman, and I discuss them. I reread these books quite a bit to relax, and I'm hoping to find other people that have similar kind of investment in them and in the characters and things like that. So, the book we have up today is Gone. And while these videos are intended for people that have read the books and there will be spoilers, I'll give a brief synopsis just in case you're not familiar with the book. So the main characters in this series are psychologist Alex Delaware and LAP detective Milo Sturgis. And at this point in their careers, they can more or less pick and choose what cases they want to work on. So the book's set in Los Angeles, and there are two young aspiring actors, a male and a female, who go missing, and then they find out that they staged the disappearance, and then one of them turns up dead and the other one goes missing again. And essentially the book is trying to figure out what happened. Is the one who did not turn up dead, is he a killer? Is he a victim? Neither. They both attended the same acting school, and they find out that there are some other people that attended that school that have also gone missing or turned up dead. So is there something to do with the school? So on and so forth. So that's the premise of the book. Let's talk about my notes. I don't have a lot of real strong thoughts about this one. I don't love it. I like it. It's a solidly good murder mystery. Some of the earlier books, I get really invested in the characters and the plot, and I also get really frustrated with certain little details and minutia. And there's really not a whole lot in this one that really gets me worked up one way or the other. I like the imagery better than the characters. I find it very easy to picture a lot of these settings in this book, whether they're fictional or not. A whole lot of the characters I don't find as memorable as some of the other books. I didn't put this in my notes, but now that I'm thinking about it, there is a character named Beamish, and I did like him, and it would be great if he turned up in another book. Lauren Montez, I think that's his name. Again, I didn't put this in my notes. He turned up from a previous book, and I really felt nothing about him, but I always like it when somebody who was incidental in one book turns up in another. Okay, so here are my notes. The first line of the book makes no sense to me. I've reread it. I don't know who Kellerman's talking about. Because the first line of the book is she almost killed an innocent man. Who is she? Who's the innocent man? Because then it goes about talking about the guy who discovered the missing girl, almost hit her with his car. So it seems like he almost killed not an innocent girl, but So I don't follow that. The only thing I could think of is maybe like she scared him and she startled him and he could have had a heart attack and then he would have been innocent in that scenario. But it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a little tangent about Milo's Barber, and I'm trying to figure out exactly who he is. Barber shops and salons are arguably the most segregated organizations in the U.S. the second most segregated organizations in the U.S. after churches, primarily because of the differences in black and white hair. And it's kind of hard to tell from the description is Milo's Barber black or white. They talk about a predominantly black clientele, but then he also only charges $7, and black barbers typically cost a lot more than white barbers, and because there's a lot more involved in the hair process, and $7 won't even get you a lining, I don't think. So I really don't understand what's going on with the barbershop, unless if this is another scenario where I think maybe Kellerman doesn't really understand certain nuances about hair. Okay. How could the police station's electrical system take out Milo's hard drive on his laptop? Power surges will damage power supplies first, and then laptops, the power supplies are separate. You can unplug them to the laptop, and it's like a little box in the cord. So normally, you would take out, like if there was a power surge, the power supply would die. Sometimes the laptop would be okay, sometimes it wouldn't. The battery would probably be the first thing to fail on the laptop, because that's pretty close in the signal chain, as well as whatever circuit board deals with the incoming voltage. Then the motherboard, the hard drive is way down the signal path. So it seems very unlikely that a power surge would damage the hard drive and not something else. Possibly also a surge through the Ethernet cable. I can't remember when this book was written, but I'm guessing Wi-Fi wasn't nearly as prevalent then as it is now. So if it was getting internet, it was probably through either like an ISDN line or an Ethernet cable. And I guess something in the phone lines could have caused it. But even then, you'd fry the modem first or the Ethernet card. So I think, I don't know what's going on there. Or maybe that's just, people think that the hard drive is what's inside the computer, and they don't think about motherboards and stuff. Okay, what else do I got? There's a new police chief. I don't think this is the chief because, I believe, and I'm thinking ahead, and I believe in a future book they talk about there being several chiefs between Broussard and then the chief who Milo has a sit-down relationship with. But I'm going to keep track of that. So, hey, Nia, you might be able to help me out with this. So, is this a thing? There's a character in the book, an incidental character, doesn't matter, where her family comes over for Sunday dinner, and she will cook on Monday so that she doesn't have to worry about it like when they come over. And then she will freeze it on Monday and then thaw it out Sunday morning. And that seems weird to me because why would you freeze something for such a short time? Is that a thing people do?
I know some people prepare foods a day or so in advance and then put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah. So I don't know. This was an older black lady, and I definitely don't know any older black ladies that do that. In fact, I would think frozen food is probably probably sacrilegious. A lot of. But I don't. Yeah, I've never heard of somebody freezing for less than a week. Okay, Nia doesn't think that's a thing either. But if somebody watching this or reading my notes knows somebody that does this, I'd be interested in hearing about it. And I guess their demographics, age, race, etc. So the Dowds own half of LA, and then from a few books ago, Sonny Coppel owns like half of LA. So it seems like between them and a few other landlords that we've met, we pretty much know every property owner, every rental property owner in Southern California through these books, and I think that's kind of interesting. Like, there's always these big real estate moguls featuring heavily. And Alex owns some real estate too, come to think of it. So John O'Groats is mentioned, which is a real place. I've never been there, and so I'll put it on my list of LA landmarks that I want to visit from these books. Okay, so when one of the villains says, "Life will be cream and sugar," I'm like, do people really talk like that in real life? It really bothered me. Like, that does not seem like how people talk in real life. Okay, what happens to Billy after this book? I feel like maybe he's mentioned at the beginning of the next book, and we'll find out, because after I film this, I'm going to start reading the next book. But I don't feel like we ever really get a follow-up, and I care for him. I liked him through the whole book. I know that Alex and Milo suspect him at some point throughout the book, and I could always kind of tell that he was an innocent. And it's really kind of sad what happens to him at the end of the book, and Alex tries to look out for him and is unsuccessful so far. So I would like to see some follow-up on that. Okay, so that's all my notes for this book. Pretty short. The next book in the series is Obsession, which I feel like is the most Kellerman-y book of the post Golden Era books so far. Like, I'm not counting the ones that come after that, but of the ones that we've talked about post Golden Era to now, I think it's the most similar to the Golden Era. And I always think about, because there's two books back to back, Obsession and Compulsion, and I always get confused, but I'm sure that's meant to be deliberate. So, okay, I hope that you've enjoyed this, and please like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's have a discussion about the books and other things, and thanks for watching.